Ugh, you're probably KK. Nobody wants to see this. Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Kelsey K, otherwise known as KelseyKMUA, and I wanted to thank you so much for being here today. Well guys, today is kind of a bittersweet video because today I'm going to be doing my hair and makeup as if I was going to be attending my commencement ceremony tomorrow, even though it's not happening. So I thought that it would just be a fun and cute idea for me to just do my hair and makeup as if I was going to my commencement ceremony. And I hope that it'll kind of like lift my spirits a little bit more. Oh, by the way, my hair is purple. So yeah, there's that. Well, these are pretty much the products that I would have used if I was gonna be at the ceremony tomorrow. And this is probably how I would have done my makeup. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Okay, so first I am going to go ahead and just clip my hair back out of my face. I think I'm actually going to do something that I don't normally do, which is start with the brows first. See if I can find my brow brush in here. Oh, looks like we're gonna be using one of these new ones that I bought in Florida and just haven't used yet. Okay, it should come as absolutely no surprise to anybody that I am going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe to do my brows. It is my favorite my favorite brow product at the moment. Ooh, shoot, actually, I think I'm gonna prime first so that then the primer will have a second to sink in. This is actually another really great tip. If you find that after applying your primer, your foundation is kind of just like sliding all over your face, it might be one of two issues. Number one, it might not be the right primer for your skin type. And number two, it could just be the fact that you're applying your foundation too quickly after applying your primer. So I would suggest maybe applying your primer and then maybe doing your brows, or maybe do your eyeshadow first, so that then A, you won't get any fallout here from your eyes down here onto your cheeks, and then you will also give that primer a chance to really sink into the skin, so then it'll become a little bit more tacky, so then your foundation has something to grip to, and then your foundation will also last longer as well. Oh, the primer that I used, by the way, is my favorite. It's the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. This stuff is like Elmer's glue for my face, and I adore it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and spoolie up my brows so that then I can see precisely where I would like to put the bottom line. Ooh, this brush is really, really nice and thin. I like that. So starting with like really, really tiny strokes here underneath the brow, I'm kind of carving out where, or starting out where I want my brow lines to really start here. And then going across the top and creating that nice swooping shape. And then just kind of drawing that little line at the end. And then using whatever is left on my brush to fill in the sparse areas. And just gently kind of trying to fade in that original line that we made before to the head of the brow. And there we go, one brow's done. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other brow off camera, and then we will go ahead and skip to the next step. Before I forget, I am actually going to just go ahead and run some brow gel really quickly through the brow hairs just to kind of keep them in place all day. I like to brush the hairs up so it gives a little bit more of like that full fluffy look. Okie doke, so next I'm gonna go ahead and go in with some eyeshadow primer. I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. So I'm just gonna take a small itty bitty dot of this on the back of my hand, like that big or that small itty bitty. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and take my ring finger and kind of pat this here along the lower portion of the lid. Same thing with this eye. You want to make sure that if you are using any product around your eyes, that you are applying it with your ring finger if you are going to be using your hands, because your ring finger uses the least amount of pressure and is not going to damage the skin around your eyes. Just gonna be using a quick, like little fluffy brush. I am just going to go ahead and evenly distribute this product here kind of throughout the eye socket and really just like blend it out. This is also gonna help to kind of set down the product a little bit as well without adding any additional product like powders, because then it's going to help the eyeshadow adhere better and it's gonna give that really, really nice even look. We're not gonna get any patchiness in the eyeshadow either, which we do not want. We want all of our colors to blend seamlessly because we worked really, really hard on our eyeshadow. Okay, now this I'm really, really excited about because Luke was so kind enough to buy me for my birthday. He got me the Carly Bible palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I am so excited because look at all these really, really fun, pretty colors. This color right here is like a bluish pink duochrome shimmer shade, and oh my goodness, it is so pretty. Like, do you see how pretty that is and how it's kind of like bluish, but it's also kind of purple and pinkish too? It's so pretty. Okay, so I have an idea for how I want this look to go, but I don't know exactly where it's gonna take us. I'm just feeling really creative today. But first I'm gonna go ahead and set the lid down with this shade right here called Bear. And I'm just taking a fluffy blending brush and going to just blend this shade all over the lid so that then our eyeshadow will blend a little bit easier. Okay, so next I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade right here called Bible, and I'm gonna run that through the crease. Just gonna go ahead and stamp my brush like this here into the shade, tap off the excess, and just very, very fluffily taking little circles, going back and forth, running this shade from the inner portion of the eye to the outer portion of the eye. I want this color to be a little bit more intense. Most of the time when I do a transition shade like this, I keep it very, very light. It's usually like a light wash of color. However, today I really want this one to be one of the main attractions of our eye space here. Handy tip, if you are a beginner to eyeshadow and you're not very comfortable with blending quite yet, or if you find that your eyeshadows are really not sticking to your eye and you feel like as soon as you're going through and you're trying to blend out and the color just completely disappears, what you can do is you can actually tap on the eyeshadow first. So take your brush with the pigment on it and kind of just tap, 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 and then apply the pigment exactly where you want it through the crease here, and then you can go through and diffuse the edges by making little circles and going back and forth. I have found that this is very, very helpful when you are wanting to get lots of color payoff to your eyeshadows, but you're still kind of learning like where things are on your eye. You're really not too sure of like where you're placing your brush when you're trying to blend out. So this is a great technique to kind of learn your eye shape and finding out what looks best on you and what you're comfortable with looking like, or what you're comfortable with the eye looking like, what you're comfortable with when it comes to eyeshadow placement. There we go, okay. Okay, so now on a more concentrated brush, I'm going to go ahead and take like a deeper shade, and I'm gonna put that on the outer corner of the eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade right here called Bowie on a Morphe M503 brush. So this one here, it's still kind of a blending brush, but it is a little bit more tapered, and it's a little bit more concentrated, so it's gonna pick up a lot of the pigment here from out of the pan, and it's gonna allow me to pack it on the outer corner, and then allow me to also diffuse the color at the same time. So just gonna go ahead and pat my brush into the shade right there, tap off some of the excess, and then I am going to pat here and building up the intensity to where I want it to be. And I'm gonna kind of just like diffuse the shade a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the top of the brush and hold my brush from the back of the handle and do itty bitty tiny circles. And then try to kind of bring it out a little bit using tiny strokes to bring this out towards my eye to create a more of an elongated effect. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep packing on that Bowie shade here in the outer corner until the intensity is kind of where I want it, and then I can go through again and continue blending it out. But I really, really wanna make sure that I get enough pigmentation, and then go through and make little tiny circles to really just diffuse the edges. And then again, bringing it out towards the tail of the brow. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up later when we go to clean up the eyes to go do the base. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Libra right here on my finger, and I'm going to apply this across the lid. So I'm going to use my ring finger, dipping into Libra, and I am just gonna use small stroking motions with my finger, kind of just like this, and putting this here all over the lid. Oh, that's pretty. Very, very nice and cool toned, but still like very simple. I feel like this is an eye look that anybody can do with any 4 shades. If you have a lighter brown transition shade and then like a deeper brown to put on the outer corner, you have like a shimmery crease shade and then a really light highlighting shade, girl, that's it. That's like the only 4 colors you'll ever need for any like perfect eye look. Okay, so next on a packing brush, I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade right here. This shade is called Bali, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that on the inner corner as well as on the brow bone. Go ahead and pop that right here. Very pretty. Ooh, this is a really, really nice brow highlighting shade because it's not like super, super glittery, but it still like gives that nice shift. Another thing, guys, drink water. So if you find that you want to increase the plumpness of your skin, try consuming more water and see where it gets you. I think on my finger, I'm gonna take that same Bali shade and I'm just gonna put that right here on the center of the lid to really just brighten up the center. I can kind of see a difference, but not like a huge, huge difference. Let me go ahead and take this more golden shade right down here called Moo on my finger, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pat that there to, okay, there we go. Now it's picking up a little bit more of like that nice glitteriness. I think later I might add a little bit more highlighter to the center of the lid, or maybe even like a liquid highlighting eyeshadow shade, and see where that gets us. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I am just going to go ahead and kind of smudge some eyeliner along the top lashes, and then I'm going to take a brush and kind of diffuse it all out so then we get that really, really nice like smudged smoky effect. Okay, and then here on this little slanted brush, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and go over that and really just like run it back and forth to really, really work that liner in between the lashes, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and bring that up in like a slanted motion to almost create like a wing, but we're gonna diffuse it out quite a bit and really make this look like smudged and smoky, kind of like imperfect. We want kind of almost like an imperfected look and have it almost like continue on with the rest of that eyeshadow. It's gonna be very almost faint. Do you see the difference between these 2 eyes? So this one here is a little bit more smudged and smoky. The eye is a little bit more defined here through the lash line. And this one is still just kind of more bare, I guess you could say. So you can definitely tell that there is a difference between the smokiness of this eye and this eye. Okay, so next I am going to go ahead and take that same liner and I'm going to go ahead and line the upper lashes in the waterline. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and prep my lashes for falsies with a coat of mascara. I'm using the L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara. This is honestly like one of my favorites that I've ever tried. I really, really like this one, and I also really, really enjoy the Essence Lash Princess, the one in the green tube. Oh my gosh, you guys, that mascara is only $5 and it is so good. It really, really like lifts and separates the lashes. This one I feel like makes my lashes look very, very voluminous, which is what I love. Like here, let me just go ahead and make it look like I'm wearing false lashes here. When you're doing your... Lucas! He's downstairs like doing construction in the kitchen. Okay, so when you are doing your mascara, make sure that you are starting here at the base of the lash and really kind of like wiggling your mascara wand really in between those lashes to really grip almost every single lash and really like elongating that lash by continuing in like one like almost continuous swooping motion. So like zigzag, zigzag, flip, zigzag, zigzag, flip, to really get in between all of those lashes. And you can also kind of like roll the wand a little bit too to really kind of, it's almost like you have to teach yourself to kind of like move your fingers kind of back and forth like this with the wand. I can't do it when I'm actually trying to think about it. It's like a natural reaction, but like I can't do it when I'm trying to talk about it. Okay, let's just go ahead and move on to the complexion before we put on lashes. Okay, so now that our base is all nice, it actually almost feels like I'm not wearing any primer. Like it's not super duper tacky, which means that it has soaked in well into the skin. I am going to go ahead and be mixing foundations today. So here I have the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Velvet Foundation in this shade 610 Cebu. And then I also do have the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in shade 415. I love the way that these foundations look together. So you've got the really, really nice like thick velvety full coverage from this one, and then you've got this one a little bit more of like that luminous, it's not necessarily full coverage, but you can certainly build it up to a full coverage. But I just love the way that this one makes the skin look. It looks very hydrated on the skin. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a pea-sized amount of the Juvia's Place foundation and then about a pump and a half of the L'Oreal foundation. And I'm going to use just the back of a brush and just kind of swirl them all together. And then I am going to kind of like roll this here onto my face. And then I'm just gonna use my finger and kind of dot this here all over my face to make sure that I am getting the proper coverage that I want, and to make sure that if you are doing this method that you work a little bit more quickly, because the stuff will tend to dry down pretty quickly and you want to be able to blend it out. If you do find that you have not worked quickly enough and you find that it's kind of dried down a little bit too quickly, what you can do is you can take something like a facial spray or a hydrating setting mist and just spray it once or twice, maybe at the max, and then you can go back in and quickly blend. I almost find it helpful to like go in and like diffuse the edges, especially here along my eye area. Then there are no brush strokes. I'm gonna build up a little bit more of the coverage over here too. And then using that original blending brush from our transition shade and diffusing the edges further. And really, really just like blowing out this color out into the outer portion of the eye. For concealer, I'm going to go ahead and use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Light Peach. I'm going to do 2 dots right here and then 1 dot right here. And then using the Robert Welch technique of using your finger and just going pat, 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 pat. Here, this concealer is so thick and full coverage. I cannot believe the way that I used to use this concealer and the way that I used to apply so much of it under my eyes. And I would just be sitting there blending for what felt like an eternity, because there was so much of it and I was applying so much and it's so full coverage and it's so brightening that I really didn't need to. I really did not. Okay, so now that I have that pretty much all right where it needs to be, I'm just gonna go ahead and take my sponge and just go under the eye here and blend, 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 blend in a bouncing motion. Like, do you see how bright my under eyes are now? Like, goodness gracious. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and very, very lightly powder everything down. Just going to go ahead and use a big fluffy powder brush, dip it here into the powder, tap off any excess, and really just stipple this here into the skin. I'm gonna go back into the lower lash line using, again, the Curly Bible palette. I am just gonna go ahead and take my fluffy blending brush into that Bible shade, that like nice cool tone mauve. I'm gonna tap off the excess and pinch the brush, and then just work that through the lower lash line. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and take that brush again that we had used on the outer corner, and I'm just gonna dip the very, very tip of it here into that shade Bowie, very, very lightly, tapping off any excess, and I'm gonna pinch again the brush like this so then it's a little bit more flat, and I am gonna keep that on the outer third of the eye. Okay, so one of the things I am noticing right now is that I do have quite a bit of that black eyeliner that I had put on the top lash line. It's kind of fading here into the lower lash line down here. It's getting on that lower waterline. So, but what I want to do is I want to brighten that a little bit. So I think I am actually going to take a white eyeliner, if I can find it. Ah, yes, here it is. Okay, so I have here, this is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk. And I am just going to very, very gently run this here through the waterline. Nice stark white shade, but not using like too much of it and just really using that to brighten up the eye. I know that this looks a little silly right now. However, once you go in and put on mascara, it's going to not look as crazy. Okay, and then just gonna go ahead and apply mascara to the lower lashes. Okay, I think we are going to do those falsies last. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and continue on with the rest of the complexion, and then we will do falsies, and then we can do hair, because I really wanna do my hair for this tutorial as well. I know that this is getting to be quite a bit of a lengthy tutorial, but trust me, it'll all be worth it. Okay, so taking a nice slanted contour brush, I'm going to dip into my Benefit Bronze Squad Cheek Leader palette. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Hoola shade. I just stuck my finger in the Hoola Caramel. This stuff is very, very, very pigmented, so make sure you go ahead and tap that off. And then I'm gonna start here at just where my cheekbones are here. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on contouring, bronzing, and bronzing, I do have one of those coming your way, I believe, next week, yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stipple this Hoola shade right here into my cheekbone area. And then I'm gonna go through and kind of blend it to make sure that the pigment is right where I want it. And then very, very lightly, holding the brush from the back of the handle, going to go through and diffuse the edges. Got a really, really nice blended out look. So do you see the difference between this cheek and this cheek? See, I have quite much more definition right here, and it makes it appear as though my cheekbones are much higher than they actually are. So we were basically doing surgery on the face, but with makeup. Luke! Oh my gosh. Luke is like downstairs like destroying the kitchen with some stuff, and I'm just like, sir, I am filming. And he knows I am too. Okay, so very, very gently, I'm gonna go ahead and mix together the Hoola Caramel shade with the Hoola. Again, I'm gonna tap off the excess, and very, very lightly, again, just going to go ahead and stipple here across my forehead to make sure that the pigment is going to be right where I want it, and then kind of go through and blend. And just almost like creating a shadow around the lips you see how like they already almost look a little bit bigger? In my contouring, bronzing, and bronzing shade, I do use a different technique. However, I have learned a new technique to how to do this, and I quite like it. Okay, so next for blush, I'm gonna go ahead and mix the two blush shades here in the palette. I'm gonna take Coralista and Gold Rush, and I am just going to go ahead and stipple that here onto the cheeks. You notice how I've been doing a lot of stippling motions here in this video, really, really making sure that I'm concentrating those shades right where I want them to be, so that then I am placing the product in places where it is more meaningful to my face shape. With everybody's face shape, it will be a little bit different. You might wanna do a different placement with your blush. I like to really lift and elongate my face because I feel like I have almost like very square shaped face. So I wanna create that illusion that it's a little bit more heart shaped. And then maybe take a little bit of blush here on the nose. Let's go ahead and I'm actually just gonna go ahead and take the shade here in the palette Cookie. I'm gonna take that on a little brush first, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that here to that center of the lid to really, really give that really like a wow factor effect here to the center of the eye. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and highlight those cheekbones with the shade Cookie. And just go ahead and dip my brush in and kind of like stipple this here along the top of the cheekbones, trying to be very, very meaningful with where I am going to be placing this product. Really highlighting here almost into the hairline, as if I'm just glowing. This is very, very hard for me to try to be very meaningful with my highlighter placement because most of the time I just end up like putting it everywhere. And just kind of diffuse it with my brush, top of the lip, blend it out. Okay, let's finally go ahead and do false lashes. I have really, really been enjoying that technique that I just tried, where you can actually take your lash glue and then apply it directly to your eyelid using a brush, like a slanted brush, very gently just kind of applying it here across the top, so like here. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna use that same brush that I had used with the eyeliner previously. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take my lash glue. I'm using the House of Lashes black lash glue, and I am just going to put that here along the the top lash line, I'm sorry. Okay, and then once that lash glue is kind of there along the lash line, you just kind of go ahead and plop on your lashes. Jinkies, I can't find my tweezers. Okay, just gonna go ahead and take the lash, look down into a mirror, and just plop these bad boys on. So come from the outer corner and the inner corner. That was super duper easy. I also really, really like these lashes too. These are the Morphe lashes in the style Melrose Avenue. These are really pretty. And I really, really like the way that they are really nice and big and long, but there's also not a whole lot of depth to this lash. So it's nice and long and it really helps kind of elongate the eye. However, they just look really, really like wispy and beautiful, which is what I'm into. And they also have a very, really nice invisible band too. So if you don't want to wear them with an eyeliner, they still look really pretty. Okay, so same general rule of thumb applies. You can go ahead and take your tweezers and kind of like pinch your lashes, your naturals and your falsies together, or you can just use your fingers. But however, I am gonna go ahead and just apply a quick coat of mascara to kind of mesh the falsies together with my natural lashes. Kind of just helping them all become one nice big one happy lash family. And then for lips, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this just Ulta Beauty like nude pinkish lip liner. I don't even know what the shade of this is called, but I'm gonna go ahead and very lightly line the lips, kind of avoiding the outer edge. Then going to go ahead and take my NYX lipstick in the shade Whipped Caviar. These Velvet Matte lipsticks are nice, however, they just have a very dry looking texture to them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop on a little bit of gloss. I'm using the Victoria's Secret lip gloss in the shade Candy Baby, everybody's favorite. There we go, and now we look like we just have that really nice, like, pigmented lip gloss look. I'm liking it. I really, really like the way that this makeup looks right now, too. I'm very excited. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to hair. Okay, so what I need to do is actually, before we begin with my hair, I need to make sure that I set the face. Oh, my nose is running. Don't want to mess up my makeup. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and first take the Mario Bodyskew spray to really make sure that all of that powder that we applied today is really like set into the skin and it looks nice and dewy and flawless. Okay, and then taking the Gerard Cosmetics Slay All Day setting spray. A nice little handy tip too, if you find that you are actually getting mascara from your lower lashes or even from your top lashes here along the bottoms of your eyes after you apply your setting mist, what you should probably do is you should do your mascara immediately after doing your eyes, and then maybe finish up with your complexion, do your bronzing, blush and highlight, all of that jazz, then do your lipstick, and then apply your setting spray. I used to do my mascara last, and I would always end up with all of these like little mascara marks here on the lower portion of the eyes, and it's just not cute and it's not easy to clean up. So let's go ahead and continue on with hair. Obviously for a cap and gown, I would probably want to part my hair down the middle, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so hair is parted down the middle, and what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna go ahead and divide my hair into two sections, so the left and the right, and I'm just going to go ahead and clip up this side, looking very cute, I know. And then on the left side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to section off the hair in a top and bottom fashion, and then clip this up. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take small sections of my hair, maybe about 1 inch by 1 inch. My hair is very, very thin, and I have a very fine texture. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take my curling iron. I'm actually gonna doing the opposite side of my head is kind of weird. I kind of have to take the curling iron and put it behind the back of my head. So doing this, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap the hair away from my face. And then I'm gonna hold on here to the very end. Oh, by the way, I also did apply some heat protectant to my hair. Okay, and then just kind of let that be. I am gonna kind of brush my hair through once I'm all done with everything, and then I'm going to take that middle section and do the same thing. So we're just gonna go ahead and fast forward. This is pretty much what I'm gonna do on this entire side of my head, so we'll just go ahead and fast forward until we get to the other side. You wanna make sure that you're not taking too much hair in your sections to curl, because if the section that you take is too thick, then you will not get a long-lasting curl. I am gonna take one more section up, so almost dividing my hair into a third. So notice that as I'm doing this, what I'm taking with the curling iron is I am wrapping it around, and I'm really not changing anything about like my fingers. I'm kind of just letting the hair slide through my fingers as I wrap it around. So it's almost like a coiled effect around the barrel. Oh, by the way, this is a 1-inch barreled curling iron as well. If you get lots of like weird kinks in your hair, like this, kind of like from where you were holding the barrel up, it's okay, don't worry about that. It'll kind of relax after a couple of minutes. And obviously this portion of the, like when I'm wearing my lovely hat, no one's gonna notice. Okay, so if you're following along to this tutorial and you either like don't have bangs, or if you have really, really long bangs, that's fine. Or even if you have like super short bangs, you don't have to do this portion. But what I like to do with my bangs is I like to kind of just like crimp them in the barrel like this, and then kind of like almost lay the barrel almost like straight up against my head, and then release, and then kind of just like work my fingers through it. So then it kind of just like falls in with the rest of the curl. Oh, look at that highlight.
Yes, queen, yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to the end and we'll go from there. Okay? Okay. Okay guys, so hair is done being curled. I have sprayed it a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly kind of just like run my fingers pretty gently through the curls just to kind of break them all up a little bit more. Just like, you know, making things look a little bit more wavy and pretty, almost like very mermaidy. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and take my hairspray again to help kind of hold that curl. I'm using the Rave Climate Shield. And one of the handy, helpful tips that I find that works for my hair is that I tilt my head to the side and spray, so that then it'll help kind of keep that shape and that volume. Goodness gracious, I feel like Farrah Fawcett. Yeah, this is very much a Farrah Fawcett hairdo. I would say like a very like modern Farrah Fawcett. If you don't know who Farrah Fawcett is, ask your dad. Or your mom. But like, your dad knows who Farrah Fawcett is, okay? Okay. Okay guys, thank you so much for getting ready with me today for my commencement ceremony. I know that this time is really, really disappointing for a lot of, you know, graduates. So I really, really hope that everybody out there is staying well, staying safe, staying healthy, washing your hands. And yeah, but guys, if you liked this video, go ahead and give me a big ol' thumbs up. It helps other people find the video. And if you want to help other people find this video even faster, you can share this video and make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell so you can be notified of whenever I upload, and so you can see more videos of me doing stuff like this. Thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye y'all. I feel like a mermaid.